Hey, Mom. I just wanted to remind you about our plans today since I have some updates. It sounds to me like Reese was able to get reservations at that one restaurant that I was telling you about. I don't think it's going to be anything too formal, so just show up how you would do to any other restaurant. I think we're going out for Italian, so don't wear white.
Yes, I suppose that would make it pretty easy to see where I got sauce on myself, wouldn't it? But I'm glad and grateful that Reese was able to find a good place to book for us. I am really looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to this too, Mom. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was also a bit nervous.
What do you mean, Claire? What is there to even be nervous about? Did something happen between you and Erwin?
No. It's nothing to do with Erwin and I at all. But it's just that, well, I guess his dad says some things that just really weren't sitting right with me. And I think that some of what his dad has been saying might be starting to rub off on Erwin. I'm not really sure if I can explain it any better than that without going into too much detail about what all was said.
I'm sorry, but I guess I'm just a little bit confused. If you don't want to talk about this, then that's okay. But I'm afraid that I can't really follow along with what you're saying to me.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I guess that Erwin's dad really doesn't seem to be happy about the fact that I was raised in a single-parent household. And this isn't just hearsay, Mom. He's actually told me this himself. And now, even Erwin has been saying things that hint at him not being happy about that either.
Wait a second. You mean that your fiance's father, and now even your fiance, are talking bad about the way that you were raised? What were they even saying?
I don't know. I wasn't really trying to listen, to be honest. But you know his family? They all come from a long line of politicians. And I guess they just have some pride about that. And I think more than anything, they probably just have a lot of misconceptions and misgivings about what being raised in a single-parent household even means. But I just know that if they were to meet you, that would probably solve everything. I mean, you do know who Erwin's dad Reese is, right?
Yes, I think I've heard of him, but I think that we've hardly ever actually interacted in person. Although, I am sure that Reese wouldn't want to try and start anything with me as soon as he realized who I am.
No. I don't think that he would try and start with you over anything. Although, don't be surprised if he gets a little competitive about things.
I suppose that might have to be expected, won't it? But if that's all that's going to happen, then I'm not sure what you're worried about. I think I know how to handle myself, thank you very much. But after all, I think there were plenty of people who thought that they could look down on us just because I was raising you all by myself. But I am sure that if we just all sit down to eat a nice meal and talk this out, that we'll be able to clear up some of their misconceptions. Although, that being said, I have to say that I'm surprised that someone would actually still cling on to such an outdated belief.
I know. You're right. You might be fine tomorrow. But that wasn't all that I wanted to talk to you about. There's something else that I wanted to discuss with you before the meal.
Oh, really? Well, what is it that you wanted to talk to me about? What else is there that I should know?
The thing is that both Reese and Erwin asked for your phone number so that they could get in contact with you. So I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind if I shared that with them before tomorrow.
That's a bit strange that they would ask you for that when we're all about to meet tomorrow in person anyways. Can they not just get my number from me directly tomorrow? Why can't we just do that?
Well, I told them that you were really busy and that she might not like it, but they both seemed pretty insistent about it.
I see. Well then, I guess that means that they won't take a simple no for an answer. And it makes me think that there is something they might have that they want to talk to me directly about. So I suppose that if they really do want my number that badly, that there shouldn't be a problem in you giving it to them.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pass along your number to them. Thanks so much for understanding, and I'm sorry to bug you with this when you're already so busy.
You don't have anything to apologize about, Claire. After all, you're not the one asking for this. But I just do hope that things between you and Erwin are still going well. I just want you to know that it's okay to call this off if you feel that it's not going well.
No. It's nothing too bad or serious. I just wish that they would be a little more open-minded towards you and the whole raised by a single mother thing. And I think it just stinks that this is even a topic that we have to clear things up on and try to make them feel comfortable with. Does all of that make sense?
Of course it does. And I completely understand why you would hope to have more support from your fiance and his family. But hopefully, after we all sit down and talk about this tomorrow, it won't become a problem in the future. Either way, I am really looking forward to the meal and seeing everyone in person. So I'll see you tomorrow, dear. You have a lovely rest of your day.
Hello, this is Town Councilman Reese Harrison. I take it that this is Naomi, Claire's mom, isn't it?
Hello. Yes, this is Naomi Williamson. It is a pleasure to meet you, Reese. Or rather, I suppose it would be more appropriate to say that it's been a long time since we last spoke, hasn't it?
Are you saying that you and I have met before? I'm terribly sorry, ma'am, but I really don't remember meeting you at all. In fact, thinking about it now, I don't think I've ever met anyone from a single-parent household before, not the kid or the parent, so I don't think that we've ever met.
Oh, but we have met before, you and I. Although I am thinking that maybe meeting each other tomorrow in person might serve to jog your memory a little bit.
Well, I understand that you seem to think that we've met before, but I'm telling you that I have no recollection of that at all. You understand what I'm saying, don't you? You and I have not met. In fact, I really don't think someone like me would ever lower themselves and talk to someone like you. Or rather, how would someone as low as you even manage to talk to me?
Lower yourself? You think I'm beneath you? I really don't understand what it is you're trying to get at.
All right, look, I'm going to get to the chase and skip all the niceties, okay? Now, I really don't know what you or your daughter might be after with all this. But I want you to know that I am not going to let you pull any kind of scam on me or my family. Understand? We are not going to give either of you 1 red cent. In fact, I'll even be more honest. I don't trust you or your daughter one bit.
I'm sorry, but I'm just a little confused about what you're talking about. When did either of us even say that we wanted money from you?
Listen, I'm a member of the town council. I know what it's like to live in the world that I do. And if I've learned one thing, it's that when a poor family tried to get close to you, they're only trying to do so with one goal in mind. I mean, the moment that Erwin told me that he was dating some girl from a single-parent household, I have to say that I was quite shocked. I thought he would have thought more carefully about who it was he was going to be bringing home to introduce to his mom and I. But I guess that my boy is still young and has a lot to learn. After all, he didn't even know that he should be watching out for exactly your kind of people to come slinking around.
I'm sorry, Reese, but do you not realize at all just how insulting you're being both to me and my daughter? Why do you think that you can just assume that every single parent household is just after money? I really don't think that you have any real basis for any of these beliefs besides your own personal biases. And I would really appreciate it if you stopped accusing my daughter and I of such behavior. You're being very rude. Now, tomorrow we are supposed to get together for a nice meal and discuss how our children are engaged to one another. So I just can't understand why you think that it's appropriate to be texting me these kinds of things the day before such a meeting.
I just thought that I'd give some kind of forewarning before we met. I just wanted to let you know that I already know exactly the kind of people that you and your daughter are, and I won't let you get away with this.
You really just don't know when to stop, do you? What makes you think you have the right to talk about two people that you haven't met like that?
I already told you that I'm on the town council, didn't I? If there's one thing that I know, it's people and how they work. And if you think that I'm going to let your daughter sully my family's legacy, then you're dead wrong. I mean, did you two really think you would get away with this? That I would just let you waltz into my family and open the doors and let you both in?
Again, there is really no need for any of this kind of language, Reese. I just want to know how you can make these judgments when we haven't even met in person. You may be on the town council, but if you don't see why that post should make you more empathetic to the needy, then that is quite disturbing.
What? You think that being a politician means that I'm supposed to be some kind of bleeding heart? You think it means that I'm supposed to care about the average person on the streets? Being a politician just means that I'm better than everyone else.
And here I thought being on the town council meant that you were supposed to be a representative of your constituency. Working for the town council isn't something that makes you great. It's a job you should be given because you're already a good person. I really do think that if you don't change your outlook on the world, that you might make some serious consequences for yourself.
What do you know about anything? You're just a single mother to a sad, pathetic little girl, but I guess I'm starting to see why it is that your husband left you. If I had to be nagged at like this by you every single day, I might pack my bags and never come back too. But don't worry, I'm going to see to it that Erwin leaves your daughter the same way that your husband left you.
Again, you have no idea about anything that my daughter and I have gone through, and I would appreciate you not jumping to conclusions like that. I have to say that I am really, really disappointed in you, Reese. But let's just say that I am very much looking forward to tomorrow. I can't wait to see the look on your face when we finally see each other in person, after all this time.
What? You mean you're still going to come tomorrow? Even after all that I've said? You're a persistent one. I'll certainly give you that, lady. But you know that this isn't going to change anything. I am going to protect my family from no good lowlives like you and your daughter. I won't let some poor rabble like you sink their claws into my son.
I am just going to say that the only reason I am ever bothering to show up to this tomorrow is all for my daughter's sake. Although, given the way that you've been treating me just in this text conversation alone, don't be surprised if this whole engagement just falls apart.
Well, that will be fine with me. In fact, I was hoping to achieve that by now anyways. What about any of what I said that makes you think that I want my son to go through with this marriage?
Look, I think that as parents, we should support the choices that our children make, especially when it comes to love. Now, if you think that my daughter has some kind of ulterior motive, I can assure you that she doesn't, and I'll have you know that neither do I.
You know what? On second thought, I might actually be okay with your daughter marrying my son, as long as she promises never to talk to you ever again.
I'm sorry, I don't think that I'm following along with what you're saying. What would be the point of that?
I mean that I'd let her marry Erwin if she just cast her past as someone raised by just a normal mom. Not only would you have hung around only bringing shame to my brilliant political dynasty, but it would be the only way that we can really be sure we can control your daughter and make sure she doesn't either steal money or ruin our reputation. If she could do that, then I'll let her marry my boy.
Well, I'll say this much for you, Reese. You certainly do have an overinflated sense of self. I mean, to think that the day before we were supposed to meet in person, you reach out to me just to insult my family and I like this. You must really think that your family is the cream of the crop around here, don't you?
Of course I do. My family has literally helped to lead this town for generations. What have you done with your life besides lose a husband and raise a useless daughter? Even my son is working in my campaign office, and one day, if he learns how to do it right, he'll be ready to take over my seat on the council. But before that can happen, I need to make sure that he gets smart enough about what kind of people he's letting into his life.
Sorry, don't we live in a democracy? I don't see how you think you'll just pass along your seat. And I will ask you to keep your comments about me, my daughter, and how I raised her to yourself when we meet tomorrow.
If you have a problem with anything that I have to say tomorrow, you can just leave and cancel the whole engagement. I'm a politician, and here in this country, we have a little thing called freedom of speech. Got it? But more important, I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect my family from people like you, and that's why you're not going to get away with this.
If the only reason you're seeking power is just so that you can lord it over people you see as beneath you, then I don't think you're a good fit for office. Especially since you seem to think that you can actually create some kind of dynasty with your family, or that would even be something desirable for a functioning democratic society.
There you go again, running your mouth as if you have any idea what you're talking about. Politicians isn't for women, and it certainly isn't for a single mother. You don't know what's good for society because you're not good for society. But I don't even know why I'm trying to tell you all of this. It's like trying to teach a toddler about rocket science. It's all going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, you're right. I am getting nothing of value from this conversation at all. But I suppose you'll just have to try again in person tomorrow. Anyways, that's all the time I have to text. I look forward to seeing you then.
How are you supposed to sit when we only made reservations for us and not you?
Excuse me? What are you talking about? Are you talking about our lunch plans today?
Of course I am. I made reservations at one of the nicest Italian places in the city, and let's face it, there's no way that a nobody like you can afford to eat here. So since you don't even have enough money to afford your own meal, why would we be reserving a seat for you both to be here? Did you really think that you were going to get a free lunch from me that easily? Well, think again.
There you go again, trying to make fun of me for things that you have no idea about.
I know that you're poor, and that tells me everything else that I need to know about you. You're the one that needs to learn and accept their place in the world.
You really think that you know my place better than I do? Don't know what to say to a man like you.
I don't care what you say. Nothing you could ever say is going to change how I feel about this marriage or you, and that's why you don't have a seat here. So if you want, you can either stand at the table while we eat and enjoy our food like civilized beings, or you can give up and go home. Honestly, you should be grateful to me that I'm even giving you the choice. Don't say that I never did anything for you.
I see. Well, if those are the only two choices that are going to give me, then why don't you just tell my daughter that I've gone home?
Yes, this is perfect. You better go home. There's no place for you here at all.
Yes, it would appear that there isn't. Just don't tell me that I didn't warn you. You will regret this.
Regret? This is the best decision I've made in a long time. If I knew that it would be this easy to get rid of you, I wouldn't have even bothered talking to you yesterday. Now, get out of here, you low-life nobody.
I guess we'll just have to see who the real lowlife is, won't we?
Hey, what the heck is going on here? Huh? We've been waiting at the restaurant for a long time now, and nobody is here. I mean, not even my son has shown up here yet. He's not even picked up his phone. Do you have any idea what's going on here?
Our whole family is over. It's ruined, and you were the one that ruined it.
Wait, what? What is all this? What are you talking about? Have you gone crazy or something?
No, sorry about that. I was only passing along a message from your wife is all. I actually ran into her in front of the Italian restaurant and explained to her all of what happened between you and I.
Wait a second. You mean that it was my wife who said that? So then, does that mean that she was talking about our family?
Yeah, I mean, it would appear as if that was what she was referring to. But this is what you get for trying to treat me the way you did. I'll have you know that no one in my life has been more supportive of me than my mother.
What are you talking about, Claire?
But I just really don't get where someone like you gets off. I mean, why be so judgmental about people you haven't met when you're literally going to meet them the next day? I really thought that you would have been more careful with your choice of words after hearing that you had met with my mom before. But I guess your wife was able to figure out what you weren't, that's why she got so distraught.
Okay, just what the heck is going on here? Huh? What are you talking about? What did my wife figure out that you're saying that I wasn't able to? Huh?
I'm just saying that your wife saw who my mom was and that her reaction to how you treated her. But I'm surprised that you couldn't fit all the pieces together. After all, my mom is one of your most influential supporters and basically won your last election for you.
Hold on a second, now you're really not making any sense at all. I mean, are you really trying to tell me that I owe my victory to your mom?
I just thought that you would recognize my mom as head of Williamson and Company. But I guess you were so hung up on the fact that she raised me as a single mother that you blinded yourself to everything else. And no matter how many times my mom tried to warn you, you just kept looking down on her.
Wait a sec, are you trying to tell me that your mom is the same Naomi Williamson who heads the Williamson and Co.?
That's right. And I'm just shocked that even after my mom gave you her full name, that you still accused her of being after your money. You really should have just kept your mouth shut until you had actually seen her face to face. But then again, not even Reese knows who my mom really was. This was going to be the first time the two of them met.
But no, are you telling me the truth? Is your mom really? She can't be.
She literally told you who she was and encouraged you to stop talking until we had all met in person. But are you telling me that you didn't even do any looking into who my family might be? Where it was coming from? Or did you think that it would just be a waste of money and resources to do so much digging into a nobody like me? Even as a politician, I would have thought that name recognition alone would have been enough to tip you off, but...
Please, you have to tell me where your mom is right now. I am serious.
She already told you that she was going to go back home, didn't she? As for me, after I met up with your wife, I texted Reese and told him that I couldn't get married to him anymore. So even though we will probably never meet again, I hope that this serves as an important wake-up call to you about how to treat others.
What do you mean? You broke up with my son. But what about the wedding? What's going to happen with that?
I just told you that there isn't going to be a wedding. I wouldn't want to join your family in a million years.
But we come from a long line of leaders and politicians.
Why should any of that matter if you're just using your prestige and power to look down on others? I've already talked to Reese about all of this as well, so it's over. Please, don't bother my mom or I again. Despite what I said, Reese ended up calling my mom from the restaurant to beg her to forgive him. He must have really been desperate to have that kind of conversation in a public place, because it turns out that a local reporter was in a nearby table and overheard half of the phone conversation. He picked up enough to hear that Reese had been very cruel and mean in his language to an important supporter. When he finally figured out it was my mom, the reporter asked her to comment on the story. She didn't, but her texts with Reese were somehow leaked to the press. And so, in the midst of his son's engagement falling apart, the news about Reese broke, and his support rates and votes quickly tanked. After that, investigations into his campaign revealed some financial irregularities, and now it's a whole thing. Frankly, I stopped following the story shortly after it broke, as I knew all the details that mattered to me. I'm just grateful that I dodged a bullet by not marrying into Erwin's family and getting my mom caught up in all of this as well. As for my mom, after all of the news stories about Reese and his family were breaking, she withdrew all of her support for any of his campaigns and released a statement explaining why she chose to do so. Not only were the financial crimes a problem, of course, but she discusses the appropriate way that Reese conceived of political power and how he lacked the spirit appropriate for having such power in a pluralistic society. I can only hope that this whole story serves to warn powerful people about being too full of themselves, but I'm not going to hold out much hope.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.